The family tree for myself, everybody under Grandmaster Bob Maschmeier is authorized to teach Kajukenbo any place in the world. What's really great about what's developing now is my international family. And in Kuwait, Abdul Latif is authorized to teach Kajukenbo under Grandmaster Bob Maschmeier, and he will be on my family tree listed under Kuwait, and then his black belts will be listed under him. Then with Paulino, the same thing applies to Paulino in Spain. He will be my representative for Kajukenbo in Spain and be in the family tree under Spain, and then his black belts will be listed under him. And they will, also fall under the not protection, but the family tree of Grandmaster Bob Maschmeier. And that also reflects on my teacher, Senior Grandmaster Halbona, and also up the chain of command or up the family tree to represent Sigung Adriano Emperado. Okay, my part of the Kajukenbo family tree, the head of the family tree is Sigung Adriano Emperado, and under him on the family tree is Senior Grandmaster Joe Halbona, and under Senior Grandmaster Joe Halbona is Grandmaster Bob Maschmeier. And then as you can see from this picture, it goes from Sigung Emperado to Senior Grandmaster Halbona to Grandmaster Bob Maschmeier to Sifu Abdul Latif. And this is very important that this family tree is understood and seen by every member of Kajukenbo throughout the world. This is we have now Sigung Emperado, Senior Grandmaster Halbona, Grandmaster Bob Maschmeier, and Sigung Paulino Martin in Spain. So there will be another picture like this with his picture down here to represent Grandmaster Bob Maschmeier. I have a message for the students of Sifu Abdul, and I want to mention that I am so proud of all of you for the hard training that you do and the respect and the discipline and friendship that you showed not only to myself but to the other instructors that came over with me. It's so impressive, and so it melts my heart to be here and be treated so well, and to have your enthusiasm and your showing your animal instinct when you train, and you're wanting to learn from everybody. That's one of the main things that I want all the students to remember, is that you can learn from anybody. We learn from the students that we're teaching because of the questions and the movements and things like that, that it's a two-way street. When you bow to me and to the other instructors, we're bowing back to you. So you're showing respect to us and we're showing respect to you. And that's one of the most important things. And my motto, train hard, be humble, fight dirty. And that's the way it should be. And everything I've seen since I got to Kuwait this time was absolutely in line with the way I feel about the martial arts. And I'm so proud to be the head of this family now in Kuwait, and also with Paulino in Spain, that I just am amazed at the quality of students, even after they've only been training for a few months. And I want to just tell you that I am very, very proud of each and every one of the Abdul students, and I just wish you the best, and I hope you train forever. Thank you very much. I've been asked to tell everybody a few things about my history in Kajukenbo. When I was in the military, I was in the Air Force and the military police, and I started my career in the martial arts with just basic training in the military police, but also studied judo for 2.5 years while I was in the military. When I was honorably discharged from the Air Force, I moved to Pacifica, California. And I was walking around the shopping center one day with my daughter on my shoulders, and I heard this screaming and yelling coming out of the storefront. So I went over to investigate, and I looked inside, and these people were pounding on each other. I mean, I knew it was a martial arts school, but I was used to judo practice and things like that. But these people were taking people down to the ground and just pounding on them. And I immediately took my daughter home and came back up and went inside the dojo and was watching, and Senior Grandmaster Halbuna was there. He was teaching a class, and I signed up that day to start taking Kajukenbo lessons because of the ferocity that they showed, the animal instinct and the survival instincts that they had, that I had inside me but had not been developed yet. So when I started training with Senior Grandmaster Halbuna, and the people that I trained with that can verify this are, well, Tony Hutchison has passed away now, but he was my partner for 5 years, along with Sifu Jeffrey Wong, who now has a school in Concord, California, and teaches Wushu. Bill James was also my partner for my brown belt and my black belt test. The Inoba brothers, Rodney and Dickie Inoba, who now I believe live in Maui and Oahu. But these are the people that I trained with from white belt to black belt. And the training was just so intense and brutal, and we're just surprised that we lived through. But I remember going to work and with a busted rib and my rib taped up, you know, my chest bandaged up, and having stitches on here and here. And maybe I should have blocked better, but it wasn't that. It was just the training was so hard. And in those days there were no pads. You didn't have gloves and headgear and shin guards and foot protection. You were lucky if you had your cup on. But I've gone through all that hard training, and Senior Grandmaster Halbuna was the nicest, most gentlest person in the world, and was also a father figure and authority figure for me. And he would come in, but when he got on the mat and he was teaching, he was just an incredible self-defense teacher. We would be working out, and he would come in the door and put us all in a horse stance in a squatting position, and if we turned our head and looked towards him to see what he was doing, the punishment was 3 punches to the chest, and they weren't just, you know, tapping you on the chest. He hit you hard enough to knock you back out of your horse stance. And the rule was you had to hop back up to take the second and third punch. You couldn't just move back and not get hit again. You had to take the 3 punches no matter what. But we would be in a horse stance, and he would go over, and we couldn't look, but you could hear the curtains closing on the window at the front of the dojo. And then the curtains on the door would close, and then you would hear the deadbolt lock on the door. And you knew that you were going to have some very, very intense training that night. And I look back on that as a badge of courage and so on, that we took those beatings. And he knocked me out, you know, and after I woke up, and I'd get back up and we'd keep training, you know, even with injuries. And the rule was in Kajukenbo, it's not a training class unless there's blood on the mat. That was the old rule, okay? And that's the way it was, more so in the old days than it is now. But we had a lot of fun, and I've trained under a lot of different instructors and in different martial arts. And Senior Grandmaster Halbuna, when I went to him and said I wanted to take Kung Fu lessons, I wanted to take Jiu-Jitsu lessons, his answer to me was, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go out and learn more about martial arts. And he had this Hawaiian grin that would just melt your heart. And he just looked at me and said, Bob, this is what I want you to do. And so I've trained with a lot of different martial arts instructors from all over the world, and it's just made me a better teacher and a better human being. And I thank Senior Grandmaster Halbuna for being there for me in a lot of ways. I have to tell you that before I got into martial arts, I had a very bad temper and instant fight if somebody confronted me. What Halbuna told me was the toughest test of my martial arts training was going to be to walk away from a fight. Okay, and I have to mention that proved to be true. I was in a situation in a club, a bar one time, and I got into confrontation with somebody. I can't remember what it was, but I tried to apologize to the individual, and my training was that as long as he didn't reach out to touch me or punch me or attack me, that to walk away. That was my test. And that's what I did. I backed away. He was calling me every name in the book. I got outside and that was it. I had a date with me. She thought I was a coward. He thought I was a coward. The more I tried to back away, the louder he became in the club. And all his friends came around and they saw this big guy. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. You know, I apologize if I hurt your feelings, you know, this type of thing. And I got away. And at any time during that confrontation, I know I could have just blasted this guy. But I couldn't do it because Halbuna told me that this was going to be your test. And I got away. I took the date home because she never wanted to see me again because she thought I was a coward. And to this day, I cannot go back and find this guy and beat the heck out of him because it would negate everything I went through for my test. But when I saw Senior Grandmaster Halbuna again, I told him what happened, and he put his arm around me. I'm getting teary-eyed now because I remember so well. And he congratulated me for having that self-control and being able to pass my test for controlling my temper. And that is one of the proudest things that I've done in my martial arts career. And I love Kajukenbo. I love Kajukenbo. KSDI, my family, and my new members of my family internationally, and I'm just so proud. And I want you students to understand where I came from so that if you have to face a similar test, that you can have the self-confidence to do that and show that respect to your teacher and pass that on to your students eventually. So I'm very honored and proud to be here, and I just want to praise Sifu for his teaching you to be good Kajukenbo practitioners. Thank you. I want to say a few words about Sigung Paulino Martin and my association with him here in Kuwait and his promotion to Sigung, 6th degree black belt in Kajukenbo KSDI. To his students, I'm very honored and proud to have not only Paulino, but all of his family tree under him, under my family tree. And I just want to say that how proud I am to have Paulino as part of my family, and he'll be represented on the family tree as Kajukenbo Spain under Grandmaster Bob Maschmeier. It's important that everyone know that he's authorized to teach Kajukenbo under Coach Karate Studio and also under KSDI in Spain, in Europe, any place in the world that he desires to go and teach. We could tell when we saw Paulino perform for his promotion that he trains very hard, very strong, and I'm sure that he's passed that knowledge and ability on to his students. And we were so impressed with his ability, and watching him teach was also a revelation in his ability as a true martial artist. His relationship with Sifu Abdul Latif's students was incredible. They looked at him as not only an instructor, but as a good friend and a brother in the martial arts in Kajukenbo. And when he did get his promotion, Abdul Latif's students actually picked him up and carried him around the dojo. They just were screaming and yelling, and it was such a beautiful event to see that not only is he respected and loved by his students in Spain, but he's also loved and respected by the students that he has gotten to know here in Kuwait. So I want to thank him again for coming under my family tree, and also that I will support him in any way I can in his teaching in Spain and in Europe and any place in the world. Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Paulino Martin y he sido promovido a Sigung, sexto dan de Kajukenbo. Ahora bajo la enseñanza del gran maestro Bob Maschmeier, noveno dan de la Coast Karate Studio Hardware. El linaje del sistema viene emperado, Sigung emperado, Senior Grand Master Halbuna, Grand Master Maschmeier, Sigung Martin. Bajo la enseñanza del gran maestro Maschmeier estoy autorizado para dar clases en España, en Europa y en cualquier parte del mundo. Quiero dar el mensaje a mis alumnos que estén tranquilos, que lo que hacemos es Kajukenbo y ahora más fuerte que nunca bajo la enseñanza del gran maestro Bob Maschmeier, noveno dan de Kajukenbo. Nuestro grado está reconocido por él y por su linaje y estamos reconocidos en KSDI, Kajukenbo Self Defense Institute. Gracias.